Hello, internet people. Today we are working on this issue. Well, we are we are working on it, but I doubt we will be able to finish the work on it. So essentially, in Copr, there are situations when we need to resign our packages. Uh, every package in Copr is signed when you enable the when you as a user, when you enable a repository, you need to trust the keys, and so everything is secure. Um, there are situations when we need to resign. For example, when the key is expiring, theoretically, when the key would be, I don't know, broken or something like that, or weak, potentially. I don't think we have done that before. And the major use case or the major situation where resigning happens very frequently is when you fork a project, because every Copr project has its own GPG key. Like, it's not like a Fedora packages where every package is signed with the same key. Here we have a GPG key per project, and therefore, if a user forks your project, or even you fork your own project, all the packages are forked, of course, but they need to be re-signed with the key from the new project. This feature is implemented for a long time in our backend storage, but currently we are working towards supporting Pulp as a storage, and this is one of the few missing features. So the problem is we could let Pulp do all of our signing. We could do that, but we thought it would be a big step at once to change even our signing workflow. That's one issue or objection. But also, we don't want to, at least for now, diverge too much from what happens when we have one package. We don't want to diverge too much from the pipeline that happens when there is a project stored in backend storage, and the pipeline that is done when a project is stored in the Pulp storage. Because we figured that we will probably have to support both storages forever. This is not like we migrate to Pulp and then drop all of the previous backend storage features. Because there are multiple Copr instances out there. Check out our documentation if you are interested in what those instances are. But definitely there is an open Euler instance, and the other one is slipping me, and those are the big ones. But there are also like people's personal instances. I know about many of them. So In some situations, using backend storage might be much easier or desired than like running your own Pulp setup. Even though for our development instance, the Pulp setup is basically one container, and that's it. So it's perfect. But I don't know. Some situations might be better with backend storage. I don't know. I think we will have to support both storages. So we don't want the pipelines to diverge too much. Anyway, let's stop blabbering about that. Yeah, so we do our signing and we upload the packages already signed to Pulp. Now this is critical because we cannot say to Pulp to just re-sign our packages because we do the signing. And I was having a dilemma about what to do with this. Like fuck it, stop signing ourselves and let Pulp do it. Would that be easier? But we eventually got to a consensus with the team, which was, let's do this quick and dirty. And basically, when a resign needs to happen, let's just download all the packages from Pulp, resign them ourselves, and then upload them back to Pulp. It's not optimal, it's not perfect, it's not pretty, but it should be a good enough temporary solution before we can like figure out something better. So I actually have no idea how to approach this, like where to start. I don't know if we even have a script that does the re-signing, or if we will have to test this on forking. We will start with a little bit of investigation. So hopefully there is not anything private, and I know. Nice. So let's take a look. Search for, I don't know, sign. This is tests. So here is some sign.py. We will take a look at that. What's next? Sign. Copr signer, that's a config. This is a service. That may be interesting. Maybe. Oops. Sign conf. Okay. So this is the only binary. This is the only code that we have that has sign in the name. Maybe there is some other one. Either way, what do we have here? This is a wrapper around the sign command. This contacts the signed, the OBS signed service. It's called OBS signed because it came from OBS, but it's actually we actually use that also in Fedora for Copr, and it's our own service. Don't worry, it's not talking to OBS. We have sign here, so we can sign RPMs in dir. Okay, this is interesting. this is interesting. We will definitely use this for testing. User, create user keys. Okay, that's not interesting. Unsign. Maybe we'll use this as well. I'm not sure if resigning means just signing. Yeah, we definitely. Yeah. We copy. Imagine the fork situation. The RPM packages are signed by a key from one user and the project, but let's say user to be, let's say user, so it's more easy. So again, RPMs are signed by a key from one user. Another user forks them to their own project. We cannot just like add a new key and still trust the previous user, because those users don't have to know each other, they don't have to trust each other or anything like that. They are completely different entities. So we definitely need to unsign the forked RPMs, so there is not anymore the key from the first user, and then sign with the second key. So we will definitely call this one as well. And that's our file. Now, where this is used, in actions by, and then in fix GPG. So in actions by, I guess this is the forking action. Yep, as expected. And fix GPG, that is interesting one. Fix GPG. Fix Copr. I'm going to fix Copr. Okay, this seems like we have script that is called upon a specific project, and then it fixes somehow, whatever that means, it fixes the GPG keys for that project. Can we use this for what we want? I think not. I think not. That's too high level, because it expects that we have specific directory structure, which is like user Copr or user project chroot, and then build IDs and so on. That's too complicated for our case, but I think using those two, this one and the signed RPMs in there, are just perfectly fine. If we jump back to the actions, okay, jump back to the actions. Now this is our fork action. Let's test all the resigning on the fork action, because as I said, that's the most frequent situation. All those remaining ones were basically just theoretical, because we don't ever do those. We need to count on those to be possible to do, but I don't think we even have a tooling for that. So this is the only one that happens very frequently. Now, the problem is the fork action is not at all is not at all implemented for Pulp. So I would say, and there is a ticket for that, and I'm not supposed to do that this week. We wanted to first build the building block, which is resigning packages, and then implement the forking. But I think we will do it the other way around and do forking, implement forking, and as a byproduct implement the resigning. Now let's do this. Okay, let's go to our Copr project. Where are we? Yeah, this is garbage. This, yeah, I don't need to talk about that much. So this is empty. Main base. Okay, we have up-to-date code. Git checkout pulp sign. Let's call it pulp sign, resign, in case we ditch the forking idea. Now, let's kill all my servers that I probably ran from a different feature. Now everything is running again, and we should be able to let's go here. I recently created a project because I needed something else. So test pulp forking, this pulp forking, and let's call this base. So we will always be forking from this base. We add one chroot and say it's in pulp. Disable create repo, false is default. I needed that for a different feature. I will keep it here, never mind. So we have a project, it's our base. I will submit a build. As usual, let's build the hello package. Now, hopefully this will build. That will prove my development setup is not broken. If this builds successfully, then we will hit the fork button and try to fork the project. Forking is, there are two ways how to fork a project in Copr. You can fork an existing project and create a new project by that fork action, or you can fork only, the RPMs or all the packages from one project into another but existing project. We will do the first one. We will create a new project with it. The action will most definitely fail or do nothing. I'm not sure. It definitely it won't fork anything. That's the one thing we know. But I don't know if it will fail or just do nothing. Perfect. So we will do the fork. Let's jump here. Not regenerate, fork. And this won't be the base, but the, what is it called? Let's call it child, but I'm not sure what's the right terminology here. Either way, we did the fork, and I was stupid enough not to, oh yeah, okay, nice. I thought we may not see the log correctly, but it is running here from yesterday. So, do we see anything interesting or not? Action generate. Oh, now it happened. So action, this action. Action fork Copr. Fork. Yes. This is it. So this action ended with success, and it created our key probably somewhere, forked this build, but this build should most definitely have no RPMs. This is created, forked build as, yeah, this cannot have any RPMs. Let's check. I will do it in the action container. So first of all, no. This is our, well, here we know we have test pulp forking, and we have our base and our child. And I would go here and even grab this for RPM. RPM builds, but not anything which like no RPM packages, which means the child will look the same. It can't have, not sure. So this is a bug because we don't do repo data for source RPM packages anymore. But this is a bug unrelated to whatever we are working on right now. And you can see here is the spec, the source RPM and everything. Yeah, but no, if I just ls, here there is no RPM. So it forked all the logs and everything, which is fine. Results JSON fine. Yeah, everything we are saying is good, except it didn't do the most important part, which is fork the RPMs, because they are in Pulp and not on the storage. Now I would put a debugger somewhere in this action. Yeah, and try to work from there. Anyway, the action, the fork action, was this ID. and we can run it's somewhere, yeah, we can run a single action. So we can run it again, and it succeeded again, which means it's idempotent. We can run it, and the fork action is idempotent. We can run it anytime we want without causing a failure. So we can easily debug all of this on just one action running over and over again until we have the code just right. Now I can put debugger here, and we will get the debugger, and we can go step by step the function, which is good. That will definitely make our life easier. Now, what do we do? You can see unsign is called here. And sign RPMs in there is called here. So everything. So this is exactly what we talked about at the beginning. Those two functions we want to use. However, in case of Pulp, we need to call them on a different directory. That's that, because we need to download the packages into that directory. Let's put the debugger here and figure out what information are available to us. I can see some data variable. So this is useless. Data is JSON data. JSON self data. But does this action really have so little information? Self actions fork. Is there storage? There is storage object, which is backend storage, which is kind of incorrect, I would say, in this situation. So it is possible that the fork action doesn't even obtain the correct storage information. Let's take a look at the front end. What information does it send to us? That is in action front end, actions logic, this one, and look for send fork Copr. This is the information that we get. This is too long a line, but user, yeah, that's what we see here. So somebody forgot to update this to send the storage information. If we take a look at, for example, send delete chroot or delete Copr or send create repo, they all specify storage information, not the send fork Copr though. So this is how they do it in another actions. This is too long, I don't like this. We will change that as well. Here we have a data, it's called data dict for all situations, and we JSON dumps that dict. Okay, that makes absolutely sense. So we will have a data dict for consistency. I would otherwise call it probably just data. JSON dumps, And here it is going to be the data dict, and this, yeah, is our dict. So we can do this actually, and this, and do this, the trailing comma, and we can add the storage information here. We don't have the Copr variable here because it's a fork operation. It's not done on one Copr or one project. It is done on two: the source project and the destination project. Let's use the source project information. And I now just realized that the forking is going to be more difficult than expected because we have two different scenarios at least, but two that we need to think of. There is the source project can be in Pulp, and we need to fork that in a Pulp, another Pulp project. In that case, we need to do exactly the thing that we discussed at the very beginning, which is download the RPMs, sign, upload the RPMs back to Pulp. But it can also be the case that we are forking a Pulp project into an existing Copr project, with the backend storage, the Copr backend storage. And therefore we won't be uploading the thing. And I don't know if we need to support those two cases. Yeah, that's really annoying. But I think what we can do, since we were not supposed to work on the forking part, actually, we were supposed to work on the signing part, we can maybe focus just on one of those cases and completely ignore the destination project and focus only on the source project and where it is. So let's say this here, this fork action sends an information where the source project is stored. Here we have the breakpoint. Let's comment it out. Let's kill this and run actions dispatcher and restart the front end since we made the change. Now let's go back to the base and fork it again to child2, fork it. Now we have my log here. Exactly the same thing as previously should happen. The action ended with a success. We can see that. That's good. That's good. So we can take this action, jump here and run the single action. It won't be a success as previously. Why is that interesting or helpful? We now have the information about the storage. So self-storage is now Pulp storage automatically. We don't need to do any shenanigans here. Now, I want a condition specific to Pulp, and I don't know how to write it. Yeah, this is how we do it in create repo. So we will do it the same here. So if self-storage, meaning frontend gave us information that the storage is a Pulp, we created this object, and yeah, basically if the storage is in Pulp for this project, we do something. So we moved 1 inch forward. I would say in such a case we will define the destination path as to do, I don't know what yet, and else the destination path will be this. So yeah, in that case we will keep it unchanged. We already use it here, and we sign in the destination path, and yeah, we unsign and sign the destination path. That's good. Now here we need to, let's say, get a temporary, do we have some temp? TMP, no. We need to create a temporary directory. Python TMP. Directory. It's somewhere here, temporary directory. So we will go from temp file import temporary directory. This of course should be at the top of the file, but I'm not sure if we will stick with this or not, so let's just keep it here for a second. Let's say TMP will be temp for temporary directory. We can do suffix prefix directory and delete when the delete is happening. Disable cleanup of the directory upon exiting the context. Oh, this is supposed to be used as a context manager. Yeah, okay, so yeah, like this. I know if that's not exactly yeah, that's not exactly what we, that would be perfect, but it doesn't fit our case. Either way, let's do a prefix which would be Copr fork dash, and if we kill this and run this again, we have TMP name. Yeah, this gives us the path. TMP name is a bit, yeah, let's use the name. Now the DST path would be TMP name, right? So we will therefore run the unsign and sign in the TMP directory. We now only have to download all the RPMs there. We will figure out the uploading part later. Now, how to download Pulp RPMs? I have no idea. Do we have a Pulp command? We don't. That sucks. But it should be packaged. So if we do user root dnf install pulp or pulp CLI, hard to say. Pulp CLI. Now we can go back to the Copr user, which we used before, and we can do pulp. And I will just switch some music. Give me a sec. Okay. Yeah, we can do pulp commands now. That would be pulp RPM, probably. Now, content, maybe. Content list or show. No download. If we do content list, yeah, this is whatever garbage I have in my own pulp instance. Now let's take, for example, this one, and if we do pulp content show this one, that's wrong. What if we put just the UID here, UUID here? Okay, so help, and it can be href or sha. Oh yes, so this was correct, probably, but we need to say href. Okay, this is probably the full information about. Ooh, that sucks. Okay, this is probably all the information that we have available to us. Here is the file list. Pulp href. Pulp labels, good. Not sure if usable in this situation, probably not. We seem to be screwed a little. However, it is possible it is not showing everything that we actually can see. I don't know. This is so I have one more idea, and that would be using the API. I have no running jobs. I want the action, this one. We should have self storage, right? And that should have its client, and that should have get content, and it has. Now, How is get content used? Pulp get content actually wants build IDs. Okay. So if we put a list here, which would contain from what this is forked. Forked. It doesn't show. Never mind. Base. This should have results in Pulp. Response JSON pp. Why it? So this is PRNs. I need more of this. We also have get by ref, so can this return more interesting information? Get by ref. And we already tested some ref a few seconds ago. This one. That's a different one than we have for this action, but that doesn't matter. Response JSON and pp. This is what we saw in the Copr CLI. But is here more information or not? That is the question. Content package ID. Location ref. This is what I wanted to see. So location ref and location base. Yeah, that's the files parsed from the RPM, not their location. Artifact. So maybe this artifact will show us more about where it is. Therefore, I want to do. Let's do this. Foo. This is the artifact ref. Let's pp foo JSON file. Ref. Okay, that's too little. That's too little. And also the problem is, like, we know from this that there is a location ref, this one, which is good, but you can see that Pulp, I will open this one again, that Pulp stores the files in a particular way. Forking base, yeah, it has packages and the first letter, and then there is the package. And I mean, is the H always just the first letter? Probably. Can we just eyeball it and just use the first letter and that's it? We'll probably do that. This URL, I have no clue where we are going to get, because backend, Copr backend has no idea about this at all. So for the purpose of the development, we will probably put just hard code the base URL. I doubt this is in the config. Can I leak the... I will not. Oh my gosh. Okay, that was bad. I need to edit the video. So what do I want to do? Okay, let's put this here. Let's switch this. And Pulp. I'm checking the Pulp config. Okay, I could have leaked that because I don't have any sensitive information there, only about my local instance. So I could have leaked that, and I just did. But this is all in Git, by the way, in a public Git. This is my local instance. Okay, but that confirms what I was saying, like the config has no idea about this. Maybe Pulp CLI has. We will figure that out later, probably. But at the moment, we will probably have to hard code the URL. Now we have this TMP. So this is our URL. Of course, string. Now we can't do localhost because we are running the script from a container. So if we curl this, it doesn't work. The container is called Pulp, and it is on 80 in that container. Yeah. So we need to change this to Pulp 80 to be able to get this request. Now let's say base URL is to here. This is what we will have to figure out somehow, somewhere later. For now, we are hard coding it. Then we will need the project name. So if we do fg pp data, the user is Frostix. We have that here. So that would be like URL equals base URL slash user slash project slash root. I can start to see that this is like incorrect pattern that we chose, but whatever. Root packages slash first letter, right? And we need to format it. And we know the first part, which is data user, right? User. Now, second one is project, which is Copr. So data Copr. So this is user Copr chroot. We are in some loop which goes through chroot. So it's chroot here. So we have Copr chroot packages H, the first letter of our package, and we know the package name is somewhere. Yeah, this is our package name. So this is it, and we created it like, no, did we, or did we? Yeah, like this. Okay, so we will have to change that as well. So, but this is our RPM, shall I say, RPM, and this is the first letter, of course. So this will be RPM equals, and this will be RPM first letter. Our URL should be correct, but we will check. Request, we don't have requests here. Requests get, and of course it is slash another, and the RPM is here, the URL, right? This is probably not how we are supposed to save files. I never actually download files using requests, so we will have to take a look at that. But either way, at least the URL should be correct. If we kill this and we run the action again, we got a failure. Replacement X 5 out of range. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's 6 items, here's only 5. I think there's one too many here. So like this, pp URL. Oh, it wasn't. Base URL is missing. We will kill this, run it again, pp URL. This URL should be where we are, pvd, okay. We should be able to download this. No? Errors 1. /pulp/content, here is 2 slashes. Is that the problem? If we remove the double slash, still error. So let's do it like this. We'll open the URL. We will change the Pulp 80 to localhost. I hate this. Localhost 5006. and I accidentally removed one pulp. Now, what if we take this URL, and what if we remove everything up to the content? Sure, that works. Now, what if we remove everything up to the project? Child. This is child for some reason, not the source. So that may be a problem. What information do we have in data? It somehow needs to know from which project it needs to be forked, right? So the information needs to be somewhere. And we have, sure, I have 3 minutes, by the way, until a meeting, so we will definitely not finish this. Source Copr directory doesn't exist. So the old path is generated from self pp old path is what? Forking base. Okay. So self data old value. Oh, am I blind? Are you blind too? Oh, because it is data versus self data. PP data versus PP self data are two completely different objects. So we definitely need not this one, and probably not this one. New value, old value. So we definitely need, instead of these two, it will be self data old value. Cute name, right? And we need to get rid of get rid of one, because they are merged now. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we can kill the, no, we can run the action again. pp URL, and if we take this one, stop the process, and wget this one, what happens? Failed to open. Why? Do we have a problem with this being a root directory? Likely. tmp wget 0 errors files. See, so we downloaded it, and that is going to be the end. I need to run now. Our next course of action is going to be unhard coding this and figuring out what happens when there are multiple RPMs produced by a single package. Yeah, too many things to do, and also how to use request to save a file, because I don't remember that. Yeah. Anyway, need to run. See you later. Bye bye.